So, when you think about the stock market, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most people, it's this cold, calculating machine, right? All spreadsheets and algorithms and blinking numbers on a screen. But what if I told you that underneath all that data,
It's actually a living, breathing entity. Seriously, its value isn't just a math problem. Nope. It's a constant, knockdown, drag-out fight between two incredibly powerful forces that are always at war inside the human mind.
And this is the core of it right here. On one side, you've got the heart. This is all about human psychology. Our hopes, our dreams, our fears, our biases, the whole shebang. And on the other side, you have the brain, running on nothing but cold, hard economics and the fundamental facts. This constant tug-of-war is exactly what makes the market so wild, so fascinating, and yeah, sometimes so frustratingly unpredictable.
all right, so let's start with the heart. We're going to talk about the raw, emotional, psychological drivers that are behind all of the day-to-day drama and the crazy volatility that you see on the news every single night. First up, just pure, uncut emotion. See, the market isn't a thing, it's a crowd. It's millions of people. And when that collective mood, the vibe, is optimistic and joyful, people are just willing to pay more for stocks. But when that mood sours, well, even the absolute best companies can get dragged down with everything else. It's the market's personality, and it can be a little moody.
Then you've got hype. Oh man, this is the engine behind so many things we've seen lately, like meme stocks and those massive tech bubbles. All it takes is a really powerful story to take hold. Maybe it's about how AI is going to change the entire world, or about this one electric car company, and boom, suddenly demand is being driven by what's popular, not by what's actually profitable. Everybody just wants in on the story.
Now, this is a little different from hype. Speculation is all about betting on the what if. It's got nothing to do with what a company is making today, but everything to do with what it could do tomorrow. We're talking about a potential breakthrough drug, a huge merger, a moonshot product that could change the game. It's thrilling, for sure, but it also means massive, massive risk if those what-ifs never actually happen. And of course, you absolutely have to talk about greed. This is the rocket fuel for just about every market bubble in history. It's that powerful desire for quick, life-changing returns that makes people completely blind to risk. It makes them ignore all the warning signs. It's that little voice in your head that whispers, "Don't worry, this time is different."
And today, in our super connected world, greed has a new favorite disguise: FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's so powerful. You scroll online, you see your buddy or some influencer bragging about their insane gains, and poof, all logic, all reason just flies right out the window. All you can think is, I have to get in on this, no matter how high the price has already gone. But here is one of the most important things you will ever hear about the market, a principle that is rock solid. Fear is always, and I mean always, faster than greed. Greed might build up a bubble nice and slow over months or even years. Fear can pop that entire bubble in a single afternoon. And this is how it works. It's a spiral. It starts with a little fear, maybe some bad news. That triggers some panic selling as people start rushing for the door. Well, that flood of sell orders causes prices to plummet, which, you guessed it, creates even more fear. It's a vicious cycle that just feeds on itself. And in a real panic, nobody's safe. Even the highest quality stocks get thrown overboard. Okay, so that's the chaotic, emotional, often irrational heart. Let's take a breath, switch gears completely, and talk about the brain, the cold, logical, economic forces that actually anchor the market over the long term.
The absolute number one factor here is corporate earnings. This is what I like to call the ground truth. While the heart is all about perception and feelings, earnings, well, they're about reality. It all boils down to a very simple question. Is this company actually making money, and are they making more money this year than they did last year?
And here's the thing. Over the long haul, this is what matters most. Hype dies down. Emotions swing back and forth. But a company's stock price will almost without fail follow the path of its profits. If the profits are going up and up and up, the stock price eventually has to follow. It's the market's ultimate anchor to reality.
All right, next up in the brain's toolkit, we have interest rates. The best way to think about these is as the gravity for the entire financial system. They're set by central banks, and they control how expensive it is for absolutely everyone, from you and me to the biggest corporations on earth, to borrow money.
And this is how that gravity works. When interest rates are low, it's like someone flipped an anti-gravity switch. Money is cheap, companies can borrow and expand, and investors are looking for a good return, so they pour cash into stocks. But when rates are high, that's like cranking the gravity dial all the way up. Suddenly, super safe government bonds look really good, and they start pulling money out of the riskier stock market.
And you know, the market doesn't exist in a bubble. The brain is always scanning the horizon, looking for trouble. It's worried about things like rising inflation, which just eats away at company profits. It's looking at economic growth, and it's worried about geopolitical instability. Why? Because if there's one thing the market truly, deeply hates, it's uncertainty.
And finally, there's a concept called liquidity. It sounds complicated, but it's actually super simple and incredibly powerful. It's just how much cash is there sloshing around in the system ready to be invested. I mean, you can have the best companies in the world with amazing profits, but if there's no actual money available to buy their stock, prices just can't go up. And it is so important to understand who's really in control of that flow of money. We hear a lot about individual or retail investors, and they definitely make a lot of noise, but their actual impact is tiny compared to the institutional whales. We're talking pension funds, ETFs, giant hedge funds. When these behemoths decide to move trillions of dollars around, they create the massive tides that all the smaller fish just have to swim in.
So, we've looked at the impulsive, emotional heart, and we've looked at the cold, logical brain, and that brings us to the biggest question of all for anyone who decides to put their money into the market.
So, who actually wins this thing? This epic clash between psychology and economics? Is the market ultimately driven by our feelings, or is it just a giant spreadsheet?
Well, here's the secret. The answer is neither of them wins. Or maybe both of them do. A truly savvy, strategic investor doesn't pick a side. They become bilingual. They learn to speak the language of the heart and the language of the brain. And this is really the whole takeaway. You have to understand psychology to make sense of the wild emotional swings that happen day to day. But you absolutely must understand economics to spot the powerful long-term trends that actually build wealth over time. Knowing the difference and respecting both, that is what separates a thoughtful investor from a hopeful gambler. So the next time you look at the market, I hope you see more than just blinking green and red numbers. I hope you see this constant battle playing out. You know the drivers now, so the real question isn't which one you're going to listen to, it's how are you going to listen to both.